Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening everyone and welcome live to Apex Racing TV for round 5 of the ARL Mazda Cup here at Knockhill. Knockhill Racing Circuit, it's a motor racing circuit in Fife in Scotland. It opened in September of 1974 and is Scotland's national motorsport centre. The circuit is located in the countryside about 6 miles north of Dunfermline and it's the only FIA approved circuit in Scotland. The circuit hosts different events throughout the year, with the highlights being the annual rounds of the British Touring Car Championship and the British Superbike Championship. Knockhill is made up of 9 corners with an elevation change around the track of 37 metres. The drivers will have to manage the first sector with 6 very tricky corners for the drivers to navigate, ending with the right-hander of Clark before the car gets an opportunity to make a clean pass down the railway straight before the tight uphill hairpin of turn 9, so expect some late lunges into this corner. For tonight's race we have 2 25-minute races for your enjoyment. It's going to be hard on track to pass, so qualifying is going to be so important to get as far up at the grid as possible. I am Andy Thompson and joined in the commentary booth with Adam Hatfield, and in the production box we have Samuli Kulo. So welcome to Knockhill, Adam. It's going to be an interesting round tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me once again. Hello everyone. Yeah, it's a bit of a change up from Silverstone, isn't it? That Grand Prix layout that we were on just last week for the endurance 1 hour races fallen to the wayside. Now we're at the tight, twisty, in-your-face Knockhill for 225 knock 'em out, brawl 'em out races. I'm kind of thankful we're not going for the ultimately hectic 3 20-minute races tonight, because that could have been real hectic. But yeah, I'm expecting to see a lot of action tonight on this circuit.
Definitely. I mean, when I was looking at making the schedule for this, I was looking at Knockhill and I was thinking, what should I make this one? Should I make it 15 or should I make it a 25? And I opted for the safer 25 minutes, just as you were saying, Adam. I think it would have been too hectic for 3 15-minute races down here, certainly down the tricky part of the track, which is Sector 1 coming and Doofus dip into turn 1, through turn 2 into turn 3 of McIntyre, through turn 4 of Butchers, and then up the hill for the chicane. Although they call it a chicane, you'll pretty much see these cars trying to go straight beeline for a straight line over that chicane around here, but they certainly won't be doing it that much around here in qualifying. Obviously, if they get an off track, they will invalidate their lap. So currently the cars are out on track for their 10 minutes of qualification. Currently 3 minutes 43 into the session, and Ferrari heads out at the top of the green with Martina in second. Maximin, the amateur driver, sat there in pro, but certainly in the practice, most of the drivers up to about the first 23 places were within 1 second of each other. So I'm expecting this qualification session to be extremely close. But talking about close, let's have a look at the current championship standings at the moment, and I'll hand that over to you, Adam.
It's my pleasure to take you through them. As ever, Roberto Ferrari is currently leading the way in our pro standings. We're at Pro Drive Esport with a nice square 300 points after the first 4 rounds. Marcel Pagnan, ever his shadow, currently in second, 286 points for him, followed by Orazio Principato in third. 3 Italian drivers leading our pro standings at the moment. Then we've got Martina, Pinocchio, Musumeci, Hayden, Skinner and Drazkaz for your top 9 in the pros. In the Pro-Am category, it's tight once again. Zerdzicki currently leading the way there for Hyperion Motorsport on 231. Arias Humantis in second there, driving number 171 from Matteo Barlogio on 216 points. Then following them, it's Kedzia, Nalepa, Lesney, Ronald Moons, Al McCain, De Kuyper and Tullo for your 10 drivers in the Pro-Am standings. And then we've got one final set of points to show you. It's the AM drivers, currently led by Jens Goosens. This championship even tighter than the 2 we've already read out, as he's followed just 8 points behind on 172 Tom Bingham, and tied on points in third Austin Knight. And then it's only another 10 down to Russ Fowler, 162 currently lining fourth in the standings. Then we've got Damien McMullen, Ian May, Simon Serrano, Fredericks, Clist and Walsh for once again 10 drivers in that category.
Yeah,
we've got 28 drivers tonight, so most of those will feature again tonight.
Yeah, I think the biggest absentee is our resident commentator, Austin Knight. Doesn't seem to be in the session, so obviously we saw him second in the AM Championship with Tom Bingham, but with him being absent again, and he wasn't in Silverstone, so there's 2 rounds of immediate drop score effects. The drivers do get 2 drop rounds, and the drop rounds have been applied to the points, as you may be asking yourself why the points are a lot less than last week, and that is the reason why. But we see there the car in the background. I think that was Germantus, and that's one of the things coming out onto Clark Corner is getting it really wide. It was Germantus there getting it extremely wide, managing to save it coming down here the railway, and you'll see how tight this turn number 9 is. Taylor's going taking it really wide, trying to cut back in, going uphill. So like I said, expect some late lunges into that corner during this race, but at the moment Martinez managed to take over as the current pole sitter with a 155.278, but we can see there Principato in second place, only 1/100th of a second behind, with Ferrari down in third, just over 250 seconds behind the pole sitter. We got at the top of the pro Ams Zicki there in 4th place, 700ths of a second behind the lead. So you can see how extremely close, and all the way down to the top 20 are all within 1 second of that pole sitter at the moment. As we watch Maximin get it slightly.
One of the dangers of the chicane, don't we?
Whoa.
Maximin going for a ride. Before that, I think we saw Zerdzicki space hoppering it over the chicanes. These cars, they can ride the curbs, can't they? They're light enough that they can sort of flick their way over them, but they're not completely immune.
Definitely, but I mean, you'll certainly see the cars getting airborne around this track. That's 100% sure. You know, I'm pretty sure we'll get some fantastic camera angles as they come up to the chicane. Literally, like I say, they literally check it. This is great. You'll see the car there doing a bunny hop over the top of it. The normal line there from Martina, but The guy in front literally decided to bunny hop that first part of the chicane. And this is a part of the track you've really got to be careful about, because the driving line coming into this first corner is to actually go into the pit lane. Now, if we look, if you have any incidents and drivers are in the pit lane coming out of that, that there could be some contact between the cars coming down the start-finish straight, so the drivers have got to be aware all around them, and certainly any cars that are exiting that pit lane. So that could be a area where we see a few incidents tonight, because I'm pretty sure that we will have a few cars going back into the pits to try and get their fast repair, being one of them technical tracks here at Knockhill.
Yeah, as we just saw, Marcelo Pagnan leap his way up to second in the standings. He's only 8 thousandths off the back of Martina. Those two battling it out for lead. Ferrari a further 700ths back at the moment, which apparently is a great yawning chasm when it comes to qualifying around Knockhills. We just saw Yamantis has found his way into the gravel again. Through the chicane, it looks like, probably got a little bit greedy on the curbs. Focus on Musumeci at the moment, only 10th. That looks like the end of his qualifying round, as we're into the last 30 seconds now. Guys who are on their last laps might just be able to squeak in before the checker flag waves. And watching Pagnan again, hoping to move himself up to the pole as he darts for the line now, crossing it, and no improvement from the looks of it. Stays second.
Yeah, I think it's one of them weird tracks where normally you see the start finish is the lines are the same area. In this track, it's completely different. I think the start finish is the midway down the start down the line, and the actual finish line is towards the pit, the end of the pit wall. So there's a little bit of a gap between that start finish line, or the start line and the finish line, should I say. But we'll quickly run you through the grid here for race number 1 for Martina, managing to get on pole with a 55.166. Pagnan just behind him, 8 thousandths of a second behind him in second. Roberto Ferrari sits there in third, with RM Principato in fourth place. So it's Icky, the top of the Pro-Ams, there in the fifth, with Paul Hayden alongside him in sixth. Then we have the first of the amateur drivers, Nathan Maximum in seventh place, with Ivan Pinocchio in eighth. Then we have Ari and Matti Bellagio rounding out your top 10. Enrico Musumeci followed by Christina Napa in 12th place. In 13th we have Tom Bingham, our second AM driver. Ronald Moods there in 14th, Kedza in 15th, Dan Skinner in 16th, Russ Fowler, Raphael Lesney, Ian May, Neil De Cupra round out your top 20. David Klasser is first, who's just joined the championship, so welcome to David, along with Damien McMullen, Jay Walsh, and another new member, Nick Harrison, rounding out your... Oh, no, we still got more, 4. Mark Matt was 25th, Saren Serrano in 26th. So 28 cars currently out on track. The lights are there, and we are away racing with a good start there from Martina. Pagnan gets a bit of a hold up on the line and promotes Ferrari there into second place. So a great leapfrog there coming down into the first corner. Really going to be a treacherous. The drivers need to be careful. Try not to go 2x2 wide coming down here to try and clip the cars. But it looks at the moment, oh no, as we say that, Principato just managing to get a hit coming around turn number 3. As we see there, I think that was Russ Fowler in the background. And we have a car park on this first race of 25. And unfortunately, Russ Fowler there just caught up in the middle. Yves Frederick caught up with Principato as well, so a very strange. And another Nathan Maximum having a great start. The amateur driver at the front of the field gets a spin on this opening lap. It's always going to be treacherous around here. The tyres are extremely cold on these Mazdas. Just take about 1 or 2 laps to get warmed up, but a few casualties there on the first lap.
Yeah, Maxman having a couple of adventures there. I think he just rubbed the back of Hayden, was it, who turned Principato, and then Principato got stuck in that traffic jam, as we saw, getting very frustrated, I imagine, as multiple cars from the lower echelons of the grid suddenly got all caught up with him. I think he's managed to free himself. Certainly there's no evidence of him here now as we come through the first 5-6 corners once again, hopping through the chicane. Everyone makes it through cleanly on this lap. Oh, but further back in the pack we've got Fowler again. And is that McCain?
Well. It's McMullen there, who's taking a little bit of the spin with Fowler. So Fowler not having the best of starts in his first race, currently down in P22. 2 incidents at the moment already for the Brit driver. Not really getting to grips with this track, but out in front we have Martino, who seems to be getting a little bit of gap, 0.9 of a second over Ferrari in there. Pagnan just behind him, so the 2 usual suspects, Ferrari and Pagnan, at the moment trailing Martino. And we have a bit of an incident again coming around at turn number 9. That's Simeon Serrano coming onto the last corner, that hairpin with that uphill, really treacherous, and if you try and overpower the car, it will turn around there. As we see there, what I was on about, that car coming out of the pits with a big stream of cars. As we see Alan McCain getting the second corner, the line to the second corner, completely wrong. Luckily doesn't manage to lose too many places coming down there, but all carnage and hell breaking loose certainly on this first race. Only 2 minutes into this 25-minute race, and already I think we've had quite a few incidents out on track.
Yeah, it was that McMullen getting loose as we came down the hill through turn 1. I think he did an excellent job not to collect anyone, managed to gather it back up and point it in a straight line once again. But it's hectic in the back. Oh, as McMullen's late, just brushes the back of number 5. That's McManus in front of him. He'll make it through there, but clearly it's hectic in the mid and the back of the pack.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, you can see the timing tower there, how close the drivers are together. It's only a really short lap, this Knockhill circuit, only 55 seconds, as we've seen Damien McMullen all over the pressure. And as we see in front of him, I think that was McManus getting it completely wrong there, coming down into the Irishman. So getting that welcome to the Mazda League for himself.
Yeah, I don't. So I don't think you can blame McManus for that one. I think McMullen had 2 or 3 bites of the cherry to get him out of the way there, unfortunately. Very rough and tumble, and welcome to the series.
Yeah, it certainly is. As we start going around lap 5 already around this circuit, just shows how short this is. I mean, there's sort of no let-off around this track. You got, like I said, that in the intro, the first 6 corners coming up to the chicane is just a flowing, all flowing into one another, and you've got to be really on the line to get the maximum speed. As you see, Russ Fowler again taking on an alternate line. Was that Russ Fowler? No, that was his teammate. I might be getting him slightly mixed up. So who was that? The other one that looks like Russ Fowler, Green Future Racing. Do we have another teammate of him?
Didn't quite catch who that was, I'm afraid.
Might have been Nick Harrison, who is in the same team as Russ Fowler, so we may be getting them two mixed up. So this is car 273, which is Russ Fowler out on track. So we're trying not to get messed up a little bit more. Obviously, having cars the same livery, we do sometimes mix the drivers up. But Russ Fowler currently up to P19th, got a little bit of moving down 2 places, but you can see the biggest loser there, Maximum, is 17, down 17 places. Obviously having that incident there, as we watch Pagnan making a move here on Zicki to try and get that 3rd place from the Pro-Am driver, putting him on all sorts of pressure coming down the railway straight here, coming into Taylor's at turn 9. So Pagnan does have that inside line coming down, so should get the move done. You see Zicki just following him nice and neatly behind. I thought he was going to take that a little bit wide to try and get the cut back, but Zicki just staying behind Pagnan, obviously knowing that he is a very quick driver, because I think what the Pro-Am driver needs to do is trying to keep up with the top 3 here to maximise his points, because the points around this season, as we see a massive bit of airborne there for Marcello Pagnan in 3rd place, and getting it slightly wrong wide, and Zicki trying to capitalise on that, but that was an amazing bit of car control to not spin that coming around that first corner from Pagnan. But yeah, so Zicki needs to try and keep and consolidate that 4th place, because the points in this championship are not based on class, they're based on overall point position that you finish. So obviously, if we get at the moment, you've got Zicki, who's currently 2 cars between him and the 2nd place Pro-Am driver of Jomanta, so we'll be picking up some extra valuable points, will the leader currently of that Pro-Am.
Yeah, I didn't realise that Pagnan was part of the Italian Air Force. Really launched it over the chicane there, didn't he? Over the curb even. You know, Zicki actually has the fastest lap. I was going to mention it. He set it a couple of laps ago, so he's clearly giving Pagnan a run for his money. Unfortunately, the little battle has let the front two clear out. Martina and Ferrari, 2-horse race for this one. Oh, as we see a great shot off the rear bumper of Pagnan. And Zicki gets the run. He's not going to look this time though into turn 7, up over the hill, onto the railway straight, which completely isn't straight. Once again, as we're into lap 8, really line him up for into the hairpin. He does, sells him a little dummy. Pagnan comes across though.
Ooh, I thought I was going to
managed to get it stopped in time for the apex.
Certainly thought that was going to end in tears, but managed to keep it safe. So obviously this is the top Pro-Am drivers that Zicki there in 4th with, followed by Pinocchio. And the top of the AMs at the moment is being held by Tom Bingham there in 11th place, with May just behind him, 2 cars behind him in 14th. So Tom doing a great round here, keeping that car up into the mix between the Pro-Ams, but does have Kedza right behind him on his tail, only 300ths of a second behind him there, you can see on screen, but still extremely close. You see the timing towers there, a lot of battle with cars around about 3 tenths, 2 tenths behind the car in front, so extremely close racing still here at Knockhill, and we are only 8 minutes into the first of 2 25-minute races.
You can see on the little infographic in the top right corner as well, on the track map, certainly positions 6 through 13, very close as Nalepa, almost has Barloggio being worn as a coat there. Barloggio going in too deep, and now he's going to lose out to Bingham. Bingham gets the better run. They're side by side across the start-finish straight. Bingham will have the advantageous line into turn 1. Will Barloggio try and hold it around the outside though? No, thinks better of it, just slots back in. Now Plug going to try and make a move on the following lap. Oh, but Kedzia's not uninterested either, just shows his nose. Down through 5, whipping it across the chicane. Always tricky when you've got a car directly in front of you to be able to line yourself up correctly, but Barloggio seems to have got it measured. Up the inside, past Bingham, and gets it done.
Yeah, I think that was the AM driver letting the Pro-Am driver through there through Kark, and coming back on the outside here, coming down the railway straight. Kedza going, taking a little bit of the grass, taking extremely wide, trying to get the cut back here on Tom Bingham. Managed to get a great inside line at the start-finish. Just caught Tom napping a little bit there, but Bellagio goes across and cuts the line off slightly, and it's going to be a drag race here between Tom Bingham and Bellagio. I think Tom's managed to get that car slightly in front, but we'll have this outside line for turn number 1. Does it go 2x2 wide coming down here? Keep it clean there, Tom. You don't want to be losing that. Oh, as you see, Kedza getting it slightly a bit squiffy coming down that first corner to the second corner. So Kedza managing to keep it. But we do now have Ronald Moons there in 13th, who's managed to jump onto the back of the battle here for 10th place overall. So a great prospect for these 4 drivers. Oh, the front 2, Tom Bingham and Kedza getting a slightly wrong coming out of Clark, and opens up the door, and Ronald Moon says, thank you very much. I'll have them 2 easy places from you guys. But I think Kedza just followed Tom through that corner. Tom made a mistake, and Kedza just like a sheep followed him into it and made exactly the same mistake. But what we do have here is a challenge for the second place in the AM between May and Maximin. We know Maximin's very quick, was starting up on the front end of the grid, so should make light work of Ian May, the Potato Nation driver. But it's never a done deal as he tries to go down the inside, pushes Ian slightly out wide there. That was a really aggressive move from Maximin to take that 15th place, and I think he realised that and gave the place back. So great driving and sportsmanship there from Maximin to give that place back to me. But May getting it slow, sorts of wrong coming up the chicane and holding up Maximin into Cooper there, the Pro-Am driver in 17th place. So although Maximin gave it back, I bet he wish he didn't with the absolute hash that Ian May made of that chicane.
Yeah, he won't appreciate that. Gave the position back, feeling a little bit naughty for the contact. And then Ian May got it all over the track, didn't he? Really held them up through the chicane. We're watching Claspers now. David Claspers, one of our new drivers. on the back of McMullen. These guys fighting over 19th place. Meanwhile, I should just point out Zerdzicki has claimed 3rd place off of Pagnan. We saw him all over the back of him earlier. He's up into the podium slots as we join Nathan Maxman again. Now at the front of this group in 15th place on his comeback fight. And immediately we swap back to the front of the field. Martina now under huge pressure from Ferrari. Ferrari didn't get onto the front row in qualifying, but he's still going to look for the win clearly, as he virtually pushes him across the line as we enter into lap 14, halfway through the race now.
Definitely, and Ferrari, obviously, these two cars pushing out. Great move there. Slides it down the inside, keeps the speed, does an excellent pass there on Martina, who is now demoted down a second, but gets slightly a bit wide there, does Ferrari, but keeps that speed, which is vital. But these two drivers now pulling away from the rest of the field. 5 seconds ahead of Zerdzicki in 3rd place at the moment, but he's in his own little battle with Pagnan in 4th, and Pagnan really needs to try and get past Zerdzicki to try and bridge that gap to Martina, because Pagnan is the one fighting Ferrari for that championship winning position in the pro category at the moment, so we'll be losing quite a few points if it finishes as it is, but not even halfway through this race yet, so plenty of time for Pagnan, and just saw him coming around the last corner. So about half the start finishing straight is the gap between Ferrari and Pagnan at the moment, but there are, and it's going to be a feature of this one being 25 minutes, is the rear markers are going to come into play within this race. We did see there the car number 5, I think it was, who had been passed by the front 2, and then you've got Ziki, Pagnan, Pinocchio, who are the ones going to fail. Oh, and James J. Walsh there, spinning it, keeping it nice and steady, letting these front drivers through, but sort of in no man's land, and doing the right thing there, and just going back to the pits is Jay Walsh.
Yeah, he'd been parked there for a good 30 seconds or so. I was beginning to get worried as the leaders approached that spot, because I could see it on the track map. Jay Walsh parked up, obviously had quite an incident. I think his suspension was all lopsided and couldn't get out of the position he was in. Thankfully, the few cars that did pass him managed to avoid him, and he's safely towed to the pit lane now. We're on board with McMullen, giving Fowler the benefit of his front nose in his mirrors, or at least one of the mirrors, because Fowler appears to have lost his right hand mirror. Probably a little bit of contact, getting rough and ready with the fellow drivers. Into the hairpin once again, down at Taylor's. Fowler goes in a little bit deep, but I don't think McMullen's got quite enough of a run to benefit this lap.
No, certainly not, as we still sit with Damien Mullen coming down into this first. Great, I have a great onboard view here of the elevation change coming down here. It's really quite a steep corner, and it sort of almost falls away, but the car goes really light. I mean, these cars are really forgiving, and we see them literally taking that chicane as if it's not there. But I remember driving around here in a TC car, and obviously when we saw the TC champions, they were trying to take that same line, and some of them were coming a cropper, but the suspension on these Mazdas are extremely forgiving compared to sort of the GT3 cars and the touring cars as well. Pagnan here again, just a slight little tap there on the 166 of Zerdzicki, just pushing his way through there to take that third place, and opening up the door for Pinocchio as well. So Zerdzicki managing to lose 2 places around the first 2 corners.
Yeah, not sure what's quite happened to Zerdzicki there. He was starting to make a little bit of a break on Pagnan. I think the gap was almost up to an entire second, whether he made a mistake on the last lap or 2. But it's now put him behind these 2. These guys 3rd, 4th and 5th. You can see Hayden in the background, Musumeci and Yamantis hoping to join the battle for the podium.
Definitely, but the Pro-Am driver still doing a cracking job there in 5th place. Still 2 places between himself and Jamantis in 8th place, but then you've got a big train there of Pro drivers with Mapella, Kedza, Bellagio and Moons all the way down to 12th. And then you find the top Am driver at the moment of Tom Bingham in 13th. But we're certainly looking with intent on the front of this race between Ferrari, who is not quite getting away from Martina. We saw Martina has got the pace in this race, stuck the car on pole, but obviously Ferrari was thousandths of a second behind Martina at the qualifying session. So these drivers very close to each other, so I expect them to be quite close to each other throughout this 25-minute races. But we did see there, you know, the drivers, the front two, Ferrari and Martina, seeing a lot of back markers right in front of them, so they will play a big part in the outcome of this first race.
Yeah, so Skinner was one of the drivers in front of them. Obviously Dan has been in and out of the pits, hence why he's so low down. He appeared to be battling with another pro driver, with him in 27th place there. Is that Principato back with him? So Principato and Skinner marking the back of the pack. Oh, as Pinocchio gets right on the Pagnan through the chicane. Plenty of momentum, shows him his nose. Oh, and thinks better of it. But again, maybe a little love tap just there. Out onto the railway straight again. This battle's going to run and run, I think.
I expect Pinocchio to dive it down the inside, but Pagnan just closes the door on him. Pinocchio just switches it to the outside, trying to get that switchback move, but looks like Pagnan has covered that off pretty well. But expect a move here from Pinocchio. We've known him in past seasons to be really aggressive when it comes to making an overtaking move, and Pagnan covering off that inside line for the first corner as we watch Pinocchio just going down around the outside. So Pagnan managing to save on, but they're going 2 by 2 wide, coming around the first, down into the second. Pagnan just manages to get his cars out in front there for third, but Pinocchio all over the back of Pagnan at the moment for third. But this sort of battling at the moment is just letting the front two get further and further away. Currently an 8.7 gap between this battle we're seeing on screen for third and the second place car of Martin in front of him. But you can see on the timing tower there, Pagnan followed closely by Pinocchio, followed by Zerzicki, followed by Paul Hayden now, who's joined the fight, and Musumeci. So where we were a 3-car battle, it's now turned into a 5-car battle for this top and last place on the podium for race number 1.
Yep, not forgetting your Mantis there, just a little bit detached by about a second. As they continue to battle like we've just seen them on that past lap, your Mantis will be there for them as well. Turn it into a 6-car battle. Paul Hayden's been watching these guys fighting for the last 4 or 5 laps, edging them on, and now he's got his wish and he's got right back onto the back of Zerzicki. As we flick down through the roller coaster again. Every time we come through this chicane, my heart's in my mouth because they all take a little bit of pogo in. Oh, Pinocchio dives one way, the other. Pagnan having to work really hard on the defence here today. And again, as we come out of turn of Clark's, and he moves immediately right to cut off on the inside line from Pinocchio. Pinocchio's got to have eyes in the front and the back of his head, because Zicky will go for it as Hayden goes to show in the nose. Oh, and just backs out of it in time, which allows Musumeci with a great exit now.
From the start finish line, Musumeci and Paul Hayden. Musumeci getting a slight little run, has his car and his nose in front here for turn number 1. But Pagnan's doing an excellent defensive display here, just holding up this train of cars behind him at the moment, just managing to keep Pinocchio, who obviously, if you watch previous seasons, is one of the ones that will, if he sniffs an opportunity, but goes extremely wide there, getting onto the kitty litter on the outside there, coming around turn number 5 as we go through Clark's again, and always a treacherous couple of corners there. Certainly that one coming out of the chicane the second half, if you get that slightly wrong, as we saw Pinocchio did there. But these cars are very forgiving when you do slightly get off track, hence why it's sort of the beginner series. But these drivers are showing that regardless. We want Martina making a challenge here for the first place and just putting his car down the inside into turn number 1 and getting the move done over Ferrari. Ferrari probably thought he was free and clear from this race, but no, Martina has other ideas and currently has his car in front at the moment. So Ferrari's got to battle back again, getting it slightly wrong, getting it really squirrely. Oh, managing to hold it there, coming up there into the chicane. It's absolute. How he managed to keep all of that, I don't know, but has lost a little bit more time to Martina in front of him. But they are now fastly approaching some backmarking cars, so that's going to give it, and we could join the battle again for third place. And there's something happened real bad to Pagnan. He's just lost 3 positions. Was our current third place driver, as fighting it really hard with Musumeci there to try and get back. Oh no! Absolute treacherous there. Pinocchio getting it slightly wrong, coming out and just causing a big pile up there with Germantus getting involved. Ziki, who was having an exceptional round and has just managed to lose that top spot in the Pro-Am to Napella. And Napella's just thanks his lucky stars, but Germantus just coming in to the pits to get his fast repair. But that's one of the treacherous things with that last corner at Taylor's, that uphill coming on to the start finish. And as we saw there, with them 5 cars fighting so closely together, well, the driver in front gets it slightly wrong and just causes a pile-up. So the biggest winner out of that was Musumeci getting that 3rd place, and Paul Hayden managing to take 4th. But Pagnan is still there in 5th, but watching the extreme battling further down the field with Nils Cooper in 17th place, getting overtaken by Ian May from Potato Nation, doing an exceptional move coming down the first 2, and Nils de Cooper just trying to put his car back up here into Clark, managing to get the move done. So all that good work from Ian May, just slightly undone with the exit or entrance into Clark as they come down the railway straight here. For the insiders, we see Ian May just all over the back, and that 292 car at the moment, is that one of the back markers? It's going extremely slow. I don't think he is one of the back markers. Is it? I
think.
Oh yes, he is. Yes, I can see. Yeah, he's just getting out of the way was Joseph Kliss there in 23rd of this pack of 6 cars, or 5 cars, with Paul involved in the middle there. Just trying to get out of the way for battling out as we come to the last 2 minutes of this race. I mean, where's the 25 minutes gone, Adam?
Yeah, it's the last lap. The leaders have just crossed the white line. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the iRacing time again. Yep, 23 minutes 30 on the clock, so 2 laps remaining, sorry. Those front 2, they are into the back markers now. You might even just catch a view of them in the back of this shot as Russ Fowler now works his way past Kliss. He's got McMullen right behind him as well, so he wants to make a clean break of this. Kliss not been quite as accommodating, I don't think. Oh, we got over the curbs, contact. Oh, and they all just about managed to make it through there in one piece.
I mean, this close racing, door banging, as there always is in Mazda, but that was maybe a little bit too much. But we joined back here up the front with, in fact, knowing Pete 7th here for Kedza, and Pinocchio trying to get through, trying to make amends really for his mistake on the previous, I think it was lap 25, where he got it slightly wrong coming around this corner Taylor's and spin it out, but was fighting for that 3rd place position, but obviously caused a slight incident and is trying to recover it. Head in the field here on this battle for 7th is Pinocchio, but Napella can thank his lucky stars there for Pinocchio, has managed to sort of sneak through and nick this Pro-Am win here in this first race.
Yeah, we're on to the last lap, coming up to the last corner for the leaders though. Martina's still leading it from Ferrari as they're in amongst the back markers through the final hairpin. I think Martina's done enough now. He's got a clean exit. He'll use the toe off this back marker as well as that Ian May just across the line, and Martina takes the first win of the night from Ferrari, just 2 tenths behind, and now we wait some 13 seconds for Musumeci.
Be his first race win here in the ARL Mazda League, so a great win there for Martina, just holding off Ferrari. But what is interesting, the reverse grid for race number 2 is 12th position, and that is currently being occupied by Tom Bingham, the amateur driver there. So we will have, it looks like at the moment, if he can keep it nice and clean, which he does, we will have an amateur driver on the front of this grid for race number 2, so that's certainly going to be interesting, with Moons just behind him, Bellagio starting on the 2nd row, with Ziki having a great race in that first one. Obviously he got caught up in that incident coming around Taylor's to put real pay to his race, but certainly had a lot of pace. And I think the story of this first round is this first couple of laps. We saw a lot of incidents where the drivers at the front of the field just trying to push their cars that little bit too much, and the back markers came through to sort of steal the show there.
Yeah, we've got several cars in the top 10. I can pick out Musumeci, Nalepa and Kedzia, who didn't start there. Got there by keeping it clean. As we see the results pop up for us now, Primislav Martina takes his first win of the season there, holding off Roberto Ferrari right to the end, just 2/10 between them. Enrico Musumeci comes home third, having started 11th, so a great driver through the pack for him. He's right behind his ProDrive teammate there. Paul Hayden manages to also avoid the carnage, ends up in 4th place, 18 seconds off the lead, and just by 300ths, we didn't see the end to that one, but by 300ths saw off Marcelo Pagnan into 5th. Then we have the first of our Pro-Am drivers, Christian Nalepa in 6th place from Kedzia, Zerdziki, Barlojo and Moons, all Pro-Am drivers there, the back 5 of the top 10. Then our first AM driver, Tom Bingham. Nathan Maxman comes home in 12th, so it's actually going to be Maxman on pole. Have we lost a driver? Has someone caught a penalty between the end of the race and the standings there? Because Tom Bingham, it seemed, had finished the race in 12th. We'll find that one out for you. In 13th place, Raphael Lesney for the Pro-Ams from IS Humantis. Russ Fowler in 15th from Damien McMullen. Alan McCain in 17th. David Clasper 18th. Ian May. Ivan Pinocchio we saw get involved in an incident down at the hairpin towards the end there from Simone Serrano. Paul Clist, Orazio Prince Partu, Niels de Kuiper, Yves Fredericks, all a lap down, those 5 drivers even. Nick Harrison 2 laps down, unfortunately, from him. Dan Skinner in 27th, Mark McManus, and rounding us out is Jay Walsh.
So it certainly looks like Ivan Pinocchio got a penalty there on the last lap. Probably went over the 20 incident point level and wasn't able to do that drive-through, hence why we now have 2 amateur drivers on the front for race number 2. So what we'll do here, we'll take a quick break, gather our thoughts for race number 2, and we'll look at a video from one of our sponsors. So we'll see you back in 5.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV, just in time for race number 2 here of the ARL Mazda Cup. I mean, we were entertained there on the first race, and I think the story of that is to make sure you try and keep your first lap as clean as you possibly can to avoid them incidents. We did see some high rollers in that first race fall down the field for lap 1 incidents, and gave pay to some of the people in the mid pack who started in that race to move up. Obviously we saw Musumeci managing to get that 3rd place, moving up 11 places. So patience is the key to this second race here, but it's certainly put on its head with the reverse grid of 12 places, and with the seems like the penalty from Ivan Pinocchio in that first race, it does promote 2 amateur drivers who are very quick in their own rights, with Tom Bingham and Nathan Maximum on the front of the grid, two very quick AM drivers, so it'll be interesting to see if they can manage to get out front and hold that position for as long as they possibly can over the ever-charging pros behind them. But it's certainly going to be an entertaining 25 minutes for your second race here at Knockhill. Very entertaining, and normally the second race is a lot more heated than the first, but let's hope the drivers manage to keep their cool on this first lap on a very tricky Knockhill circuit. But we're just going out onto the grid here for the second race here. You can see Maximum, Bingham, Moons, Bartolomeo, Zetzi, Kedzia, Naplia, Pagnan, Hayden, Musumeci, Ferrari, Martina, Leslie, Jamantas, Fowler, McMullen, Kane, Clasper, May, Pinocchio, Sereno, Joseph Cliss, Principato, De Cooper, Fredericks, Harrison and Skinner rounding out your field of 27 here for race number 2 as we get ready with the lights just coming on. So Maximum starting from the front of this grid. Let's see what he can do. The two amateur drivers at the front, and they are away. Both the two amateur drivers at the front get a very good start. Moons at the back just filing in behind, but I think he's going to be under pressure here from Bartologo. Kezia managing to get up onto Zezaki into the first corner as we see a big flying start from Maximum over that front corner. Bingham just holding on to that second place. These front two amateur drivers making a little bit of a gap at the moment. Got a little bit of a fight between the two Pro-Ams, Moons and Bartologo in fourth place, but we have a little bit of an incident at the back, and I think that is McMullen that's turned around. Yes, it is. He's been turned around into coming into turn number 3, so luckily only that one car, but we got Pagnan making a big charge. Moon's going off, and then I think that was Ketsia as well, so we had two cars following again, and we had our race 1 winner, I think there as well, just coming across and coming around Clark. So all incidents down the... Oh no, coming down here to car, we got Pagnan, Musumeci. What happened there? We're going to have to get a replay of that, but it certainly looked like Musumeci may have got a hit from the background, hit the back of Pagnan at some rate. Pagnan weren't able to stop for Taylors and literally just flew off that corner straight into the wall as we see the hectic battle in this mid-pack race coming down here into turn number 1. But the two amateur drivers out in front in lap 2 are still managing to stay there, with Maximum and Bingham having a bit of a fight at the front. Bartologo in second with Napella in fourth, but something seems to have happened there too. Tom and loses over a pace to Bartologo in second place there. So hectic first lap there. We'll see what come down here. So we have all the issues behind him. Oh, Musumeci gets bent out of shape onto the grass. Just comes across, gets clipped onto one of the Hypersports car in the front, hits into the back of Pagnan. Unfortunately, Pagnan was just an innocent bystander there. All seemed to start with Musumeci just getting it a little bit bent out of shape coming down the railway straight and going onto the grass. So this is going to be a long race now for Pagnan, who's currently in the pits. Doesn't seem to be taking his fast repair, currently in the pits for 1 minute 8. I'm sure the tow back shouldn't be that long considering it was the last corner of the track, but this will put massive pay to Pagnan's championship credentials going into the end of this round, having a decent first race and then getting it slightly wrong as we watch here. Jamanta's getting it right out onto the Kidsy litter. Wow, I mean, what an opening first 3 laps here we've had, Adam.
Yep, it's been hectic. We just saw Paul Hayden making the advantage and sliding up the inside there. I think that was a prime example on the previous lap of 3 wide does not work on such a narrow circuit. It all got unsettled with Musumeci on the grass, didn't it? And then they all sort of concertinaed into the middle, and Pagnan bought the shop and went flying over the inside curb. I was amazed that they didn't catch anyone. I thought he was going to T-bone someone right in the right-hand side door, but luckily there was a gap for him to shoot through. Not so luckily for him, perhaps. Meanwhile, at the front, Maximum made a good start. We know he's quick. I think he'll fancy himself here now with a 7/10 lead of Barlojo. Bingham, who I think picked up a little bit of a slowdown earlier in the race, hence why he dropped away down into 3rd. And now Ferrari, though, already up into 4th after all that hectic action. I think he'll also fancy himself for the win now. Not to discount Martina right on his bumper, though.
No, Tina, obviously our race one were extremely fast, so we're having a rerun here at the moment of the front 1 and 2 with Ferrari and Martina, but a little bit of door banging here between Abella and Paul Hayden back for 8th place, and Germantus just snipping up the inside of Hayden and says thank you very much, I'll have that place off you. So the two Pro-Am drivers getting the better of the pro driver there of Paul Hayden, but I'm pretty sure he will be looking at his opportunities to make a good pass over Germantus and Napella in front of him, with Paul Hayden there in 8th place. But really good. I mean, it was a crazy first lap, some really, unfortunate incidents. Obviously Musumeci getting it slightly bent out of shape coming down the straights, as we see Hayden just trying to put it up on the inside of Germantus here into Clark's as they come down the long straight of the railway, just probably looking for that inside line here into Taylor's, as we do, as he pulls onto the inside, gets alongside Germantus, slightly back and then pulls back behind to try and take that wide line in to try and get a cut back here on Germantus. But yeah, it's certainly been an interesting. It's great to see that the two amateur drivers at the front haven't been swarmed at the moment by all the pro drivers behind, and literally holding their own at the front of the field.
Yep, Maximum will be praying that Barlogio and Bingham can hold up Ferrari for as long as possible. Ferrari hasn't exactly stormed up onto the back of them. He's been closing them over the last couple of laps. He's there now. Let's see if he can make a move immediately. He'll obviously want to. 5 minutes down, 20 minutes to go. Plenty of time to work his way past these three. But the quicker he does it, the safer he'll probably be. He's got a run now on Tom Bingham. Will Bingham look to go defensive? Or does he see the writing on the wall? Haynes left. Ferrari doesn't seem to go for it, though.
No, I mean, knowing Tom,
for it.
I mean, certainly knowing Tom Bingham as one of my teammates in Performance Link, he will at some point let these two drivers pass, knowing he's faster, to stick onto the coattails of them to get pulled along up into the battle for first and second. So probably expect Tom to not make too much of an aggressive defence over Ferrari and Martina behind him. But we now join the battle back here for P7th at the moment. Paul Hayden leading this trio. In fact, it's about 8-car train, 9-car train we've got here over the AM driver Fowler in 8th, who seems to have a better start here in race number 2. But what I have noticed is the current leader, Goosens, for the AM is not here. We had Fowler there taking the Baja track coming out of Clark and getting it bent out of shape slightly there as we watch Kenzia just going up the inside.
Yep, it's all mad in the midfield. They haven't calmed down yet, have they? 8 laps into it, and they're still throwing it at every little piece of scenery that they can find. We're watching Fowler side by side with Pinocchio now. Pinocchio and Musumeci have been on the tail of this battling pack for a while now. I expected them to fire it through a little bit quicker than they have. Pinocchio gets one done on Fowler into turn 1 though there, and Musumeci immediately looks to take it as well. Can't do it though, has to back out. And that's cost him a little bit of time there, running onto the gravel as well. Pinocchio, meanwhile, immediately onto the back of, is that Lesney? Yeah, looks up the inside into Clark, thinks better of it. And Pinocchio making ground. Oh, a little bit too much ground, in fact, over the grass and the rumbles on the inside there. It's giving him an advantage, though. It's giving him the run. See if he can close the door in time for the braking zone into turn 9. No, Lesney's not having any of it. But Pinocchio right round the outside and may have the momentum now.
Not quite, lost a little bit of speed there, so Leslie still managing to stay ahead, but Pinocchio all over the back of the Pro-Am driver at the moment, so may make a move down here into turn number 1, gets alongside him, pushes him, really good move there, sort of lined him up for the corner and sort of showed Leslie that he was his tent was to come through the pack. So a great move there from Pinocchio to take himself up to P11. Did start round about P20, so has made up a fair few places as the pro driver, 9 places in total from where he started. Currently did Ivan Pinocchio, but the biggest mover in the field at the moment is Principato, who's currently up in P9th. He's up 14 places from where he started in this second race, the Furious Racing Team driver. So having a great second race here. You know, pity you couldn't have put the car further up the field from race 1, but you pretty much got a lead with the cards you were dealt here in race 2, and at the moment doing a fantastic job. You can see Ferrari and Martino at the top, up 8 places as well. But further down, you got Skinner up 12 places, and Jay Walsh having a better second round. We did see him straddled across the track, just in front of the front runners in race number 1. So having a little bit of a better round here is Walsh in 17th, but Kedza Moons 12 places and 16 places respectively down there in 18th and 19th, so not the best of second rounds. And unfortunately Pagnan is right at the back of the field, and I think he might actually be out of this race, so won't be scoring any points at all in this second race, and that's a disaster. Because Roberto Ferrari is currently right onto the back of Bellagio here in fighting for second place. So if he can manage to get this race win here, which is well within his grasp, only 10 minutes gone, so another 15 minutes left of this race, he could extend the lead at the top of that Pro Championship by a considerable margin here at the end of this Knockhill race.
Yeah, we can see that Tom Bingham has been quietly shuffled aside now, down in 5th, a couple of seconds off the back of these guys. Had his time in the sun at the front there for a few laps, but unfortunately these pro drivers have come through and dispatched him. Ferrari looking to dispatch Barlogio now, late on the brakes, hooks up his apex, gets the move done. Barlogio giving him a lot of respect on the inside there, too much respect in fact that even Martina's looking to benefit. They come across the line side by side. Will Barlogio be able to hang on around the outside into turn 1? I think he's got... Oh, not quite. No, he gets shuffled out. Martina makes the move. He's not going to let Ferrari get away here as they now close right up onto the backs of Maximin. He's been in the lead for 11 laps. I don't think he's going to be leading for much longer, unfortunately.
Doing a great job at the front is the amateur driver. Might have to have a look at his racing prowess, because he's doing extremely well out in Silverstone, and obviously in this race too. And obviously on race 1 he was well up the field, so we may find Maximum going up to the Pro-Am drivers for the next race, but we'll see that for anyway, and we'll look into this race. So at the moment the Am driver is still holding off Ferrari, only 4 tenths behind him in second place, but Martino, who is literally stuck to the back of Ferrari like glue, managing to secure that third place with the last overtake we saw around this first corner over Bellagio. But he's just trying to keep on to the coattails to be that top Pro-Am driver at the moment. Is Bellagio there in 4th place. Bingham sat there in 5th place at the moment. Little bit of a gap between himself and Napello, having a real big ding-dong with Paul Hayden as they rub doors around here. Coming up to the chicane, this could be... Paul Hayden literally just jumping that chicane. I wonder if he did might have got a slowdown for that, because he literally... It wasn't even a chicane for him, it was a straight, and literally took a little bit of air into that first corner there, obviously going sideways.
Fired off in the background. Sorry to cut across for you. We had possibly a back marker. It might have been flipped again.
Yeah, Clist having a round to forget here at Knockhill.
Yeah, I caught him in the background. I think he was being lapped at the time, but suddenly exited stage right. Meanwhile, we've seen the leper. He's going to be a victim to Principato, I think, here. Principato moves him across the road and then clears him onto the brakes into turn 1. Leper and Hayden, we saw, I think, they might have both got a slowdown penalty, Hayden took it a lot of curb on the inside of the turn 1, and then the Leper, I think, took even more on the inside of the second turn. Oh, as we almost see him do again there. So they might have been victims of penalties, the pair of them, and it's what's brought Principato onto them to begin with. Not to forget your Mantis as well. Meanwhile, we'll go to the front. Maximin on maximum defence now. Oh, doesn't quite get the exit, does he? Yes, he does, just about. Manages to close the door on Ferrari. Ferrari's being persistent though. Keeps his nose in there onto the grass. Oh, and Maximum's showing him no mercy there. But Ferrari's still in there, late on the brakes, and shuts the door.
I mean, that's just what we come to see in Ferrari, making passing moves. Obviously, that wasn't, I don't think, his intention there. Maximum really pushing him out wide there down the start-finish straight. A little bit of argy-bargy for the amateur driver, who's now obviously got Martina right behind him in third place, putting a lot of pressure over him. So this amateur driver at the moment is absorbing a lot of pressure, but that was a great move there from Ferrari, again pushed out really wide on the start-finish straight, but still managing to get it done into that first corner.
Yeah, Martina now does not want to let Ferrari get away. He's going to want to get this move done sooner rather than later. Unfortunately, he's not been able to get it done on this lap though, so we're going to go through the roller coaster of the first 6 or 7 corners with Martina chewing on the back of Maximum, number 231 we see in front of us. Meanwhile, Ferrari already taking a few tenths out of them and looking to build the gap if he can. He doesn't want to have another race battle with Martina. He wants it all to himself now if he can. Barloggio not being dropped by these guys either, driver in 4th place there.
Rejoin the battle here for P6 with Principato currently leading out this train, and Bingham's not that far, so we look at a replay here. It's a key car coming and the car 89, is that? Who is that? That's one of the pros, is that?
Tokyo, isn't it?
Tokyo?
Oh, no.
Literally popped his rear right tyre there, so that'll be Zerzuki going back to the pit. So bit of a mixed fortune there for Zerzuki. He had a really good start in that first race, got slightly involved in an incident which put him down into the lower halves onto the second race, and the second race not going as well, or should I say going as well as his first race. So a bit of a bad result there for Zerzuki, who is currently our Pro-Am leader here, but the rest of the field now, the Pro-Ams, can get some valuable points back on him, but Zerzuki just needs to keep his cool and get out and be within 2 laps of these front runners to score the points. You know, any points at the moment is going to be valuable for Zerzuki in the championship bid for the Pro-Am title.
Meanwhile, we're back to Principato with Paul Hayden. They're making their way through some back markers there, are they?
No, that's Tom
No,
Bingham.
sorry, that's Tom Bingham, isn't it? Tom Bingham's
Yeah.
been caught by these guys, unfortunately. For him, drops down to 6th. Might drop immediately down to 7th as well, as Hayden gets a run around the outside. Leopard in there as well in the slipstream. Might try and make it 3 cars past poor Tom Bingham. But Tom just sees it out as they go into turn 1, hopping over the curb there. Second in the AM category. Maximum's still up there in 2nd place, continuing to hold off Martina.
I think what Tom is doing here is probably actually a really wise thing. He's a very much always got one eye on the championship, and he doesn't need to fight with these cars around him. There's still a really big gap between himself and Fowler in 12 places. So it's got a healthy lead over second. Currently in 2nd place in the AM over the 3rd place AM driver of Fowler in 12th place. So just letting these Pro and Pro-Am drivers just pass, letting them fight it out amongst themselves, and being very methodical in his bid for that championship. And with Goosens and Austin Knight not here tonight, this could be a prime opportunity for Bingham, who had a great first race as well, to obviously take over that AM championship at the top. So very much has that in mind, does the Brit driver of Tom Bingham there, who's currently running around in 8th place. Started 2nd out on the grid here, but keeping one eye on that amateur championship.
We're back with Russ Fowler now. Musumeci in slipstream. Dan Skinner just a couple of seconds off the back there as well, we can see. Through Clark for the 19th time, just 8 minutes remaining of this one, of the racing for tonight. Musumeci though getting a great run there onto the railway, and he's got the inside line now. He's claimed the high ground. Just don't miss your braking point. Nicely done. Takes all the curb on the inside. Moves up to 12th place. His next target, Lesney, some 4 seconds up the road though, unfortunately. with only 7 minutes remaining, might not have enough time to bridge that gap unless they start battling in front. There are a few cars there, Bingham, Pinocchio, Emanson, Lesney, all within striking distance of one another. So you never know, Enrico might yet find another car to fight with before the end of the race.
Yeah, we see obviously Musumeci had that incident on the first lap and took out our championship contender Pagnan coming down into Taylor's in an unfortunate incident. No malice at all, I don't believe, from Musumeci, but obviously got it slightly wrong coming down this railway straight here, and unfortunately took a little bit too much grass. These MX-5 can take a bit of off-road driving action on this, but unfortunately that was one step too far, and that's why we see Musumeci, that's normally at the front end of the field, currently fighting out for P12 with Fowler, the third place amateur driver at the moment, right on his tail. But we're joined back up at the front, and Maximum still holding off Martina here, and what that is doing, Adam, is giving Ferrari the opportunity to get away, currently 1.4 seconds in the lead.
Yeah, interestingly, all three of them set pretty much identical lap times last time, so the gap isn't growing perhaps as much as Ferrari might want. But Martina getting frustrated now behind Maximum, I think, as we join them there. He was all over the gravel on the outside of the chicane, looking for any small advantage he can find just to open the door on Maximum, but Maximum obviously got all his apexes lined up. He's not going to give anything away. He fancies this second place tonight.
He certainly does, and is driving really well, is the amateur driver there at the front. Martina, obviously our race one winner, who was battling really hard with Ferrari, but you know, Maximum, well within his rights here, is racing really hard with Martina in third place, and sort of holding up the pro driver, but really doing it in a really professional manner, just putting the car in between spaces where, you know, Martina can't make the passing move stick. So Maximum doing an exceptional job here. Currently started out on pole and still keeping the car in second place and keeping race one winner right behind him.
Yeah, one thing I think he is doing now, Nathan, is he's making sure he gets turned in a little bit earlier into the hairpin at Taylor's. When we saw Ferrari catching him, Ferrari was getting a heck of a lot tighter and really gaining some time. I think Nathan's learned that in the last few laps watching him through there. And it's cutting off any chance of Martina getting a run. Oh, as Martina does get a run out of the chicane, flicks to the outside. Oh, a little bit of contact, a little bit of quarter panel banging. Maxim keeps the position. And Martina again won't have the run down into the hairpin, so no need to defend this time, Maximum. You can just keep to the racing line. Was again a little bit of a touch just on the apex there. Barlojo getting interested again as well, just half a second behind these guys.
Definitely, I mean, Maximum doing his maximum to keep that second place over Martin behind him, absorbing so much pressure as the AM driver from that pro driver behind him, and then obviously got Bartologo, who we haven't really mentioned there. He has been there all along in the background, but just literally at arm's length from this battle at the moment is the top pro driver. So a great race for Bartolomeo there in fourth place to secure some vital points. But we watch here Martina managing to get the run, but he is on that outside line here for the turn number 9 down at Taylor's, that hairpin. So the inside line at the moment normally has the faster speed or the better exit out of this corner, but Martin managing to keep alongside in, and again the Maximum just takes a really outside line, a quite aggressive line over the pro driver, and what that has done is let Bartolomeo there through for third place, and he is now fighting to try and take that second place. So the side by side here going into turn number 1, do they keep it clean? Maximum manages to get it through, Bartolomeo gets pushed out slightly, and then back through comes Martina. So these guys jostling for position, and Maximum, I mean, wow, I mean, so defensive, maybe a little bit too aggressive, you know, that's not for me to say, but great for him to be actually saying to these pro and pro-am drivers, saying I can mix it up with the best of you, as we watch Dan Skinner here take over from Russ Fowler and putting him down to 14th place. So although Tom Bingham's lost quite a few places himself, is down to 9th, Fowler's not having much luck with these pro drivers around him. So still a 4-car gap between the 2nd place Bingham and the 3rd place Fowler. I keep thinking they're 1st and 2nd, but keep forgetting the Maximum's out there in 2nd place at the moment. And it's a really shame, Adam, that Nathan here joined the series at round number 3, so you know, is carrying that nil score round, because it'd been interesting to see what he could have done if he had joined the championship at the start.
Yeah, it's not going to hold him back each night that he comes to race with us, though, is it? Clearly, he's got the bit between his teeth and wants to show us all what he can do. Remains in 2nd place now. We're going to have one more lap to go when we cross the line again. 24 minutes done. It's Nathan again, moves right to the white line, gives Martina no hope up the inside. Martina goes in deep. He's going to be wary of anything around the outside now, I imagine. Oh, but has he got an overlap? We saw this from Ferrari. Oh, not quite. Maximum manages to close it off entirely. We saw the white flag flashing by. Martina knows this is going to be his last chance on this lap. He's going to try and hold it round the outside into turn 1. Not always the best of ideas. No, just loses a little bit of time going the long way around there. Slots back in. Rapidly running out of corners though now as they approach the chicane for the final time.
He's pushing that car extremely wide as Martin, getting it wide there coming out of the chicane. He's got to be aware of Bartolomeo there behind him. He's pushing it extremely hard, trying to get past the amateur driver in 2nd place, and he just needs to have one eye on the back. But one driver that has certainly driven his 2nd race exceptionally well, getting past Maximum after a very hair-raising moment as Ferrari taking this race win in race number 2. Maximum managing somehow to keep that car in 2nd place and taking that 2nd spot on the podium, and Martina, who was our race 1 winner, taking the last place in 3rd. But Matti Bartolomeo certainly made that interesting between the top 3 there, obviously always on the fringes and ready to pick up any pieces that either Maximum or Martina dropped, but unfortunately kept it really clean.
Yeah, as we just watched the last few cars coming across the line now, there's Dan Skinner, takes home 13th place, sees off Russ Fowler at the end. Oh, and we've got a duel to the end. This is McCain and Serrano. McCain comes home in 18th from Serrano 19th. Walsh and May, the last of your drivers, still on the lead lap.
That was, looking at Maxim in there in 2nd, a great 2nd place overall, but maybe some of the moves that he was doing was really aggressive on the drivers, trying to pass him. So as our producer is looking at it, is maybe not made the most of friends here, but at the end of the day, they're out on track racing hard, and Maximum was certainly not going to give it to pro drivers on a plate. They were going to have to work hard, and we saw the move that Ferrari had to make over Maximum to get that race win, and unfortunately Martina there in 3rd place couldn't get the move done and stayed behind him. But over to you, Adam, for the grid positioning.
Thank you very much. Race 2 of the night, Roberto Ferrari takes it. Winner by almost a full 5 seconds from Nathan Maximin, who we saw put up an excellent defensive job to keep off the interest of Primislav Martina in 3rd. Matteo Barlogio followed them home in 4th, a long way ahead of Orazio Principato, who came through the field nicely ahead of Paul Hayden in 6th. Christian Nalepa, the 2nd of our Pro-Am drivers after Barlogio, comes home in 7th from Ivan Pinocchio. Tom Bingham falls back to 9th place. Still a great job for the Am driver to finish in the top 10 from Aris Humantis. Rafael Lesney finishes 11th ahead of Enrico Musumeci and Dan Skinner. Russ Fowler in 14th from Bartolomej Kedzia. Ronald Moons in 16th. Damien McMullen down in 17th. Alan McCain we saw come across the line just ahead of Simon Serrano and Jay Walsh and the back end of the top 20. Ian May, the last of the drivers on the lead lap from Jakub Zerdzki. Then David Klasper, Nick Harrison, Paul Clist, we saw firing off early in the race, Yves Fredericks, Mark McManus, Nels de Kuiper, and Marcelo Pagnan, who bit the dust right on the opening lap at Taylor's hairpin.
Definitely. So there, unfortunately, Pagnan not getting any points in this second race will certainly be one of his drop round scores for the round. But we do have a couple of drivers in the chat, and I think it'd be worth bringing up Tom into the commentary booth. And welcome, Tom, into the booth. I mean, an excellent day for you. Just let us know how them races went for you.
Yeah, really good. Couldn't ask for anything better. Got a decent qualifying in the beginning, so that put me in decent place for the first race. And then luckily Maximin, I think his name is, he had a incident in race 1, and I was just trying desperately to keep him at bay, but he pulled me in from like 6 seconds back or something, so got lucky in P1. And then obviously in race 2 he was just so much quicker than me. I couldn't keep the pace with him, and I saw Ferrari and the other guys coming up behind, so I just let them go through at the end of the day, because there's no point in me just holding them up. So but yeah, good races, can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, looking ahead to the championship, which I was saying out on stream, you always have one eye on the championship. Your two main rivals around you currently being third in the championship, Goosens and Knight, weren't here tonight, so you could find yourself standing tall on top of the amateur championship by the end of this round, and you certainly not hurt any of your chances with your two second place finishes in the AM races, in both races tonight.
Yeah, I know that I know Austin's got some family stuff with his grandma, I believe, or granddad, so he wasn't around tonight. And not sure about Jens. I was very surprised to not see him in the session. I was quite grateful to not see him in the session is what I should say, really. But yeah, no, I think I should be in P1 now, so that in the champs, that should be that's awesome. Can't complain. Should keep it now. That's the main trouble.
That's the thing up. I'm just having a look to see what the next round is, and I believe it is
Red Bull Ring.
Red Bull Ring, which is the hour-long races, which you find you prefer more in this series. So a good opportunity for you to maybe try and extend your lead if you are at the top of the championships.
Yeah, another decent track for me. So kind of like Silverstone, it's a track that I've raced quite a lot, so just understanding the line around there should help. And the slipstream effect is going to be ridiculous at Red Bull Ring, so it's a bit big for Mazdas, but we'll make it work.
Yeah, well, you've got an hour to have a little play around there, and I think it will be quite good, certainly coming down the long straight after turn number 1 down there. But obviously, just tell us how this, I mean, I was a little bit apprehensive putting this one onto the calendar, being such a tight track and obviously notorious for a lot of incidents. How are you sort of approaching this round?
I honestly thought it was going to be a destruction derby. Because the track's so small, the first 2 laps on the tyres was really, really bad. So normally your tyres would heat up after 1 lap of, say, Silverstone. Lap 2, you can push quite hard. But round here, even on the second lap, it was really, really slippy. So I'm surprised that there wasn't more incidents. And I mean, I didn't see much in race 2 as far as incidents, but I know race 1 seemed fairly clean. There was a few spinners, but luckily I didn't get collected in anything, so can't complain.
I think that was the story tonight, managing to keep it clean. But Tom, thank you very much for joining us in the box here tonight. Would you like to give a shout out to him before we let you go?
Yeah, definitely. Massive thanks to all the guys at Apex, because you guys putting this all on and doing the commentary and stuff. Everyone in the Performance Link team, including yourself, Andy. Also to my friend Max, who's watching in Germany right now. And to my wife for putting up my sim racing habit, and anybody else that knows me.
Yep, so thanks for joining us, Tom, and 2 well-deserved second place, and you may find yourself on the top of the AM Championship come the input of the results. So good luck for the next round at Red Bull Ring. So that was Tom there, getting 2 second places in the amateur, but we have a few more drivers for you. Adam, who would you like to take?
Shall we talk to Mr. Zerdzicki? I can see him in the box.
Yeah, definitely, and over to you.
Welcome, Jakob, to the box.
Hi guys, thank you. Can you repeat? I didn't catch the...
We just welcome you into the box. Nice for you to join us.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just came to... I don't know.
Have a chat.
Yeah. It was a big disappointment, this race. It was probably the only one race in the whole season that I could match in pace with everyone. And it just went horrible very quickly, and then it was just snowball every minute.
Yeah, you started both races in 5th place. Obviously, would have been hoping for some big points, and you were maintaining that in the first race, weren't you? Battling for a podium. And then, unfortunately, just a little bit of an incident down at the hairpin towards the end. How did you see that unfold?
It was. I don't want to tell that someone was on fault or not. There was a guy on. I'm sorry, you're talking about hairpin. I'm just thinking about something ARL. But yeah, hairpin. Sorry, let me change. Yeah, I think it was racing incident on hairpin. I watched the replay, and it seemed like Ivan got a bit late into braking. To be honest, I didn't feel any touch or anything. When I went into the corner, he just started sliding. I might help him a bit, but I had nowhere to go. If I slowed down, I would get smashed in the back. So yeah, I think that was racing incident probably. I don't think there was anyone at fault there.
Yeah, you did manage to at least recover to 8th there. And then in the second race, I think you were involved in an incident very early, weren't you? Down to Clark's, was it turn 7?
I don't remember what turn this was. Yes, at the start. Yeah, I got slowed down at the chicane first, so it was like, oh my god, I will be safe. But when I went to the next turn, if I had triple screens, maybe I could avoid it. But I saw cars crashing on my left, so I went far right, and there was just nowhere to go. I just when the car appeared in my vision, I couldn't do anything. Yeah, but those incidents are only like the top of the iceberg. What happened in the race, and there was so much more.
Yeah, it's certainly been a hectic night for almost everyone out there. We've seen a lot of incidents. How much do you think sort of the narrow and twisty nature of the track here at Knockhill contributed to that?
In first race, I think it's probably not only my opinion. On first 3 laps, it was difficult to keep car on the track. Cold tires are terrible on this track. But when you go after third lap, it should be easy sailing. On second race, it was probably just the mayhem. From the first race, we get some AM drivers on the front, and it was bunching up very quickly. So yeah, you could say that was track fault on this subject, on this matter.
And next week we're going to the Red Bull Ring for an hours-long race. It might be a little bit calmer there, do you think?
Yeah. I don't know how I will do on Red Bull Ring. I hope it will be calmer, but there's a lot of straights and heavy braking zones, so we can get still some incidents. We'll see, but probably this race was the messier race in the entire season. And it will be to the end. I don't think even Bathurst can challenge that, what happened here.
And then obviously tonight you've been on the grid with your teammate Martina, who won the first race. Have you spoke to him post race?
Yeah, we did a little bit chat, but when you get the result like this, it's more about fuming away the nerves, and I need to talk to him again. I know that you won the first one, great. Fantastic job. I don't know where he ended on the second one, but probably very high. So that's great points for our team. And maybe Hyperion Motorsport can challenge. Oh my god, I forgot the name of the guys on the first place.
Right.
It may, yeah, I mean team name. Roberto Ferrari and Enrico Musumeci are in the team. Maybe we can challenge them in the team standings. I hope.
Very good. Thank you very much for joining us, Jakob, and well done on your driving tonight. Unfortunate results for you, unfortunately, though.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us. That's Ziki obviously having a bit of a challenging race himself, and you can see the disappointment in his voice. And it's always one of them tracks you're either going to be really good and have a really clean race, but you got the flip side of the coin where you can have the incidents that put a pay to a lot of your races. A lot of the incidents that Jakob was involved in there was obviously not of his doing. We saw the incident on the first race round where Pinocchio got it slightly wrong around that last tailored hairpin, spinning the car and sort of caused that little car park at the end of there. And then we saw in the second race Musumeci getting it slightly wrong out on the grass, coming across, hitting Jakob, which then pushed him into Pagnan, and saw their two races sort of finish. So you can sort of hear the frustration, but overall in the team, they've got to be pleased having Martina getting that race win in race 1, and then obviously looking at that third place finish in race number 2. Couldn't quite get past Nathan Maximim to make sure out, but Adam, it's been a certainly interesting race here, and we go to the calmer, serene things of the Red Bull Ring next week, back to the hour-long races.
Yeah, messy is a word that springs to mind for tonight. A lot of incidents, drivers mentioning, a couple of them mentioning the cold tyre phenomenon on your opening laps and how slippy it is around this tight and twisty circuit. Red Bull Ring will be a different kettle of fish, obviously. Nice, wide, open straights. I expect a lot of draft battling next week, and obviously an hour-long race. Give everyone a chance to work their way into the race and not have to make up all their positions immediately.
But this is an extremely long season ahead of us. 12 rounds of guys. We have 3 different formats, 2 brand new formats above the normal 3 15-minute races. So you're going to have highs and lows in this championship, but it is a 12 round, and it's not won or lost on one round, where the drivers do get 2 drop rounds throughout the season. So all is not lost if you do have the back round. This track was always going to be a challenge for the drivers, but we don't want to make it too easy for them. We want them to really work for this championship, and every round counts. Some coming out on top here at Knockhill and some not. But obviously with the frantic racing, we weren't able to really mention any of our title sponsors for this season. Virtual Racing School, we did see a video halfway through from them. They have 50 plus data packs, road and oval racing setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-to-one coaching. Head over to virtualracingschool.com. And one that goes neatly alongside that is Apex Racing Academy. They have 29 data packs, setups, track guides, fully integrated with the VRS system, weekly group coaching sessions, plus many more. Head over to apexracingac.com. And last but certainly not by least, we got SDK Gaming that provide the wonderful overlays we use here on Apex Racing TV. Add a virtual live hub to iRacing, showing timing towers, enhanced relative boxes, mini maps, field calculators, and many more. Stream to Twitch with the most comprehensive overlay on iRacing. Broadcast your leagues and series. SDK Gaming syncs your commentator team, cameras, and focus with your broadcaster, and adjust your team strategy on the fly with the most accurate live timing on iRacing. Head over to stk-gaming.co.uk and enjoy a 14-day free trial just to see if you like it, and I'm sure after that you will. But obviously that comes to the end of our broadcast here at Knockhill. It's been an interesting race, some winners, some losers, but certainly will put a little bit of beef onto the championship with possibly a new AM leader, and obviously that pro AM driver with the leader taking a little bit of a hit on this round. So certainly going to make it a lot more interesting. If you've liked the broadcast, please give us a thumbs up for it, and also think about subscribing. We have loads of series here pretty much every single day on Apex Racing TV, so click that bell and you'll get notified every time we do go live. Also look at our social media page on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, all using the username of Apex Racing TV. So from myself, Andy Thompson, and from Adam Hatfield with Sammy Kumo in the production box, we bid you farewell here for Knockhill and look forward to seeing you next week for the hour-long race around the Red Bull Ring. Good night.